Oh, yeah, we're live. What's up? What's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the Cult Pop Podcast live stream, aka, spoiler alert, episode number 731, where we talk about and review the past week's comics, as well as some pop culture happenings. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo, owner of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA. It's inserted aggressively into the beating heart of Manayunk. With me this week is Kaiju aficionado Len, aka the Bat Tribble. Hi, Len. Tell the people something.
Hey, what's up? How you doing, everybody? I am here ready to review some comic books and hopefully even more.
Nice. And triumphantly returning to the fold, a man that needs little introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. Brian
But still
Lee.
some. Yay!
Tell the people something other than any combination of the words some or thing.
Any what? Any what, you guys?
Today we're going to review some books and maybe obliquely gush about giant monster fights. But before that, nothing. Because we don't have any letters. Before that, I'm just going to...
We got a story in progress.
Are we going to introduce that guy right there?
Yeah, and also no.
Did I miss somebody?
The person over to you, look that way.
Oh, no, this is Kai.
That
This
way.
is Kai Parker Holden, co-host
Well,
of the
also
Spoiler
excellent.
Alert live stream.
I don't see anyone else here. I'm pretty alone.
He's got his little Spider-Man hat on. Also Noel. Sorry, buddy.
La la la.
Listen, there's a lot going on over here.
Is this Kai's debut on the podcast? Was he on in the weeks that I was out?
He has made some spot appearances.
This is the most FaceTime we've gotten. Usually it's just the back of a head or a flippant cry here and there. But this is full profile. Hey guy.
Sweet.
Hi Kai guy.
Cool.
We're just gonna do
the split eventually because he's not gonna settle down for this very much longer.
He's
No,
gonna
tell the
split
people
his
something.
pants. Oh, hi. Yeah, today we're going to talk about comics. So we might as well just jump into it. The first comic we're going to talk about today is Beta Ray Bill #1 by Marvel Comics with art and written by Daniel Warren Johnson, colors by Mike Spicer. Diamond has this to say. The second most famous wielder of Mjolnir, the right-hand man to the god of thunder, and now a warrior without his best weapon. Beta Ray Bill is tired of playing second fiddle to Thor, and with Bill's famous hammer, Stormbreaker, recently destroyed at the new Allfather's hands, tensions are higher than ever. The Corbinite must strike out in search of a new weapon and a new destiny, assuming he can first defeat a nullified Fin Fang Foom. Writer-artist Daniel Warren Johnson and colorist Mike Spicer take Beta Ray Bill on a journey beyond the shadow of God. This book, I was very excited about this book. I know some of you guys were very excited about this book because we're essentially the Daniel Warren Johnson fan cast.
I'm about to say that.
Yeah, the uniqueness of his art and his storytelling style are relatively unmatched in current comics right now. It's a familiar, gritty, dirty, but still very palpable kind of style and aesthetic. And it's the easiest way to say it is just it's metal. It's very meta. It's very metal.
AF.
Metal AF. I loved it. I love this book. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting it to be little emotion, mostly crazy metal, and it was much more emotion than I actually expected.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy with it. What did you think, Len?
Oh, I absolutely love this book, especially as someone who has, despite his fame and glory, never read a Beta Ray Bill story in my life. I've
You
seen
mean
them.
despite your fame and glory, Lynn? You have never read it.
I've never been asked, and I've never requested.
Oh, welcome back, B.
Oh,
Anyway, no, I had never read Beta Ray Bill, but I knew enough of his story, so I knew what was happening. And this was just phenomenal. It was just wild, crazy visuals. I love JD has talked about this too. When visuals and words, especially like the sound effects and things like that, mashed together just to to complete the picture. There's a scene where everybody is like screaming like "I" as Beta Ray Bill's hold up his hammer, and the way the words are spelled out. It's like everything in here is just spot on. I never thought I would give a damn about Fing Fang Foom, but Fing Fang Foom shows up in here. It's wild and it's crazy. And you're right, Noel, just when you think it's just going to be this bash boom apocalyptic fight, you know, some real heart and emotion and storytelling comes in. It takes time to slow down a little bit and really interrogate exactly what Beta Ray Bill is about and the feelings that he has, the complexities of his feelings. And even though he's called Horseface, there is nothing horsey about his face because the horses are kind of pretty. There ain't nothing pretty about his face. But that's the whole story of it. They even do something. I even cared about Lady Sif for the first time in a long time. Like, this is just like great comic books. And it's funny you say it's metal because as much as it does remind me of metal, to me, it reminded me of an edgier Jeff Smith, the artist of Bone, who I think can create a animated aspect to his comic book illustrations, and that's how much this felt. This felt like almost like I was reading a cartoon. It was great stuff. One of the funnest books this week.
Let's hear from the rest of the team, but I actually did have one point I would like to ask your guys' opinion about. Maybe one of you to touch on it. JD, what did you think? I know you just read it this morning. Right?
Oh, I'm a big Daniel Warren Johnson fan, so I was really stoked to read this. I expected a lot of big Beta Ray Bill action, which we got, but the action was Beta Ray Bill getting his horse face shoved up his own ass.
That's true.
It was impressive. I was like, oh, all right, this poor guy, because in the Donny Cates run of Thor, we found there was a confrontation twixt Thor and Beta Ray, and Thor done smashed Beta's hammer.
Mm-hmm.
So now he doesn't have the Stormbreaker to protect not Odin, Asgard with. So I was really surprised. And then it felt like some Parker luck Beta Ray's got, man. He can't turn back into his, not I would say human, but his humanoid self.
Right.
And, you know, he's been flirting with Sif, and they're about to get a little murmur on, and she's like, could you take off the horse face, please? And he's like, nah, dog, horse face for life. And she's like, all right, well, peace. And then so he leaves. He leaves Asgard feeling really dejected and really down on himself. And so this looks like it's going to be an exploration of him coming to terms with maybe who he is, and you know, he's going to find Odin and see if Odin can create a new Stormbreaker, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I wonder if this will be one of those the power was within inside you the whole time type of stories. But I am on board 100%. The art is fantastic. It's dynamic. It almost grabs your face from within the page and slams you into the story. It's so goddamn good. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, me too. In fact, I saw it and I was like, oh, you know, this really reminds me of Wonder Woman, Dead Earth. And I looked it up, and of course that is Daniel Warren Johnson as well. And you know what else, Len? It reminds me of the Keith Giffen Legion of Superheroes art-wise.
Okay.
It's got like a heavy sci-fi feel to it. Would I imagine heavy metal and 2000 AD, like specifically Judge Dredd stuff, to be like without really ever having read either of those things, but just sort of tangentially seen, you know, this page or that page.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I loved it. I love this art style. The one thing struck me in particular, Fin Fang Foom's face is like this human face on this thing. And there's one page that it's just like in the extreme foreground as he's fighting through one Asgardian or another, I believe. Yeah. And he seems to have evolved his style. I was like, ooh, this is also the same guy that did Dead Earth. Let me see what else he has done. It just, the little bit that I saw, it looks like he has kind of, with Dead Earth, gotten this grittier, heavier line kind of thing going on, or doing the thing which a lot of people are doing now where the motion lines are like lines perpendicular to the direction of the action kind of thing. and I love it.
As they
It's
should be.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but the line of the thing itself be, you know what I mean? Like where the guy's arm, instead of being a straight line defining his arm, it's like made up of motion lines itself.
Yeah. The outline of the character devolves into motion lines themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's cool. I think we all think it's cool.
Instead of historically or classically, you let the art or you let the reader fill in motion or kinetic motion in between panels, and he literally just he almost constructs a lot of his shots as though you're seeing a snapshot mid motion. So your brain is doing the work that it's used to, but it's seeing it as 10 times faster because he's showing it in motion, like within the panel. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah.
And let's give some love to the colorist, Mike Spicer, because that informs just brings it all that much more to life. So I want to give him.
In fact, I was just looking at the page where Foom is going through what I imagine is the head of Galactus, as now are the gates of Asgard, and he's on the Bifrost, which the Rainbow Bridge, and it just it sits really well on that page. Also, the colors on the ship in the next page.
This is a complete package. I think this is only a 5-issue miniseries, but Marvel has those Treasury editions, which Len should be familiar with. He owns very proudly the History of the Marvel Universe and Treasury edition. I want to see his art in 14-inch or like 11 by 17 pages. This stuff is awesome. Yeah, but
bigger the better.
Can we talk about Sif for a second? So
go.
At first, how it's read on the page, it's like real dicky. Like, she lured him to bed and changed her mind, or like, oh, you're ugly and you can't change. I'm sorry, no. But then I was going to say that's a lot of people's interpretation. So I kind of want to defend Sif a little bit. She's the one in the conversation that was like, so when do you turn back? So her understanding is that he will be the humanoid because he is every single night. And that is who she's going to go to bed with. But the parameters of her consent change.
Yeah.
So it's not just a quick defense. It's not this bitch.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that to him? Like, I know we're not reading it this way. I'm making it clear that that's not the story's intention. The parameters of her consent change, and she feels awful about it. Yeah. And he doesn't actually blame her at all. Yeah.
No. He's like, I have no lips. I get it.
Yeah. JD, we were talking the other day, I believe, on the live stream about what his deal is, and I didn't realize that he had been transformed into a powerful entity before he got, like, that's why he looks like that. And that Stormbreaker, like, lets him go back to what he was before that.
Yeah, I didn't know
in that ridiculous live stream you guys are referring to, I was looking up Wikipedia and typing to you guys like, oh, he was actually a warrior for Corbinite, and oh, he was this, and then he got this, like, but it got lost in the shuffle. But I didn't know he had such why. It's fine. But I didn't know he had such a wild kind of mishmash of a history. Like it wasn't
me either.
It wasn't the
straightforward
the hammer that gave him craziness. He was turned into a horseface warrior by his own people.
Cyborg.
To defend against this fire thing.
Also, I don't remember. I've never been aware, but I hadn't really known about him until now. But he has a Skeets, that AI that hangs out with him.
Yeah.
What's his name? Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
I didn't realize I thought he was the ship. Yeah. And when Fin Fang Foom threw the ship, I was like, oh no, Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
I was wondering if that's a retcon. I was wondering if that was a retcon or just something that they kind of reintroduced. Yeah, it could be. To give him because it seems like it's going to be, this series is just going to be him on a journey, but having a little robotic internal voice like a Skeets, a la Skeets, would be really great.
To talk to,
I can't wait. I can't wait for the rest of this.
I plan on reading the rest of this. Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, Skeets is Booster Gold's little AI buddy.
Yeah.
That's a short.
No, I wanted everyone to look it up.
It's SKEETS.
We'll wait. Everyone look it up.
Yeah.
I
Next
also
book.
loved Beta Ray's conversation with Thor. I liked
Yeah.
that conversation because it felt again, it informs who he is, but it also felt because it from reading from afar, it always felt like there was like this brotherhood that Thor and Beta Ray Bill had,
Mhm.
and this doesn't negate the brotherhood, it just deepens it, because this is sometimes how brothers feel about one another. You know what I mean? About how one comes and takes the glory and or your dad's favorite or whatever, even though it's not necessarily to those
And he
exact
destroyed the hammer
words.
too. Like that was a pretty big
And
thing,
exactly,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. And he destroyed the hammer, realizing, I don't know what story machinations made him destroy the hammer, but the fact of the matter is he knew what that hammer represented for Beta Ray.
Yeah, that he
And
can't go back to his humanoid form anymore.
exactly,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yes, JD, you had a question.
Well, that's what. Yeah, that was one of my problems with it. Is Thor shows up and he's like, "But I gave you all the other weapons on
Right.
Asgard." Yeah, bro. How did you feel when you didn't have Mjolnir? You were just like, "I got all
Mm-hmm.
these other weapons. Don't worry about it. We're chill." Like you
Right.
destroyed the dude's Mjolnir, and now
Right.
you're just like, "But I gave you these axes."
Yeah, well,
Thor's this
Also-
characterization of Thor. Oh, sorry, this characterization of Thor, in the Donny Cates books also is not a emotionally evolved or mature person. He's just burdened with all responsibility and still powers through those decisions like an asshole, like he historically always had. So during the whole destroying of Stormbreaker, it's just because he didn't tell his plan to everyone, and half of Asgard was just like, "Stop, Thor, don't do it." And he just like laid waste to Sif. He laid waste to Beta Ray. It was a mess because Thor is a wildly flawed character, and the fact that he's a alpha male glory hound, even when he's not intending to be, just rings incredibly true to me.
Yeah.
I guess that always was his deal, right? Like that's why he was bonded to, or that's why Donald Blake was created, was because he was this hubristic guy. Yeah. Also, Beta Ray Bill is watching him. He's watching Hook twice. I didn't notice
it's his favorite movie.
Is that in the backstory?
Oh no, I don't know. I'm just saying it's his favorite movie. He's watching Hook twice. But I start, like with a good book, you just kind of take a little longer to read it. I read through this twice. I started trying to look for meanings other than just member berries of Rufio, and I'm wondering if there's some sort of like story, a parallel story that's going to be told about a return to Neverland or
If I may.
Yes.
Isn't in Hook Rufio is kind of like really popular until Peter Pan shows up?
Until Pan shows up.
He was his glory.
True.
He protects Neverland for the kids when he's gone.
What are the kids called? The Children of Lost Tears?
The Lost Boys.
Yeah, there you go.
Children of Lost Tears. That's kind of cool too.
That's a emo synth band from 1987. The Children of Lost Tears.
Nice.
But yeah, it's in the final scene too, which I did not realize the first read through.
But yeah, you're right. The idea of protecting all this for you, you come back and just wipe my efforts away, you asshole. I get that. Yeah. Oh no.
Interesting.
Anyway, so I think we're all in agreement. This book is fantastic. Everyone should pick it up. If you're on the fence at all, you're stupid. Get off the fence onto the side of Daniel Warren Johnson. So the next book we're going to talk about, just change this banner real quick, is the longest read of the week, but potentially the most rewarding. Other History of the DC Universe #3 by DC Comics, written by John Ridley with art by Giuseppe Camicoli and Andrea Cucci. Not Diamond has this to say. 1983, Japan. Tatsuyama Shiro's life has been taken from her. Her home, her children, her husband are all gone. With nothing left but a burning pain and a sword that stole her family from her, Tatsu begins a long journey of healing, self-discovery, agency, and rebirth. This is the story of Tatsuyama Shiro, the woman known as Katana, a hero who became more than the world ever intended for her, ultimately making a family of like-minded outsiders who rally together for the common good amidst xenophobia and oppression. So this is the third issue of the Other History of the DC Universe, a series by John Ridley. Every single issue is a deep dive into a character of color within the DC universe. It's written in a prose style with splash pages, almost like you're essentially reading an oral history. So somebody telling you a first-person account of the 30, 40, 50-year span of their lives during tumultuous time periods of American culture, right? Every single issue of this book takes a while. You really got to sit with it. You have to experience it and read it through and just kind of like sit with a page. And every single one of these issues, the new one is my new favorite. This was spectacular. It just keeps going up. And it also, of all the character, I don't know. Like the first issue was Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, character that I'm very familiar with, and I thought it was brilliant. The second issue was Duncan and B. Oh, yeah. Had no idea who the hell they were whatsoever because I don't read Teen Titans and I only saw some of the cartoons. I effing loved it. It was so incredibly good getting to know these two characters for the first time under the guise of like a competing first-person narrative. That was great. This issue, I was like, we're going to talk about the Suicide Squad. Blah. I knew nothing about Tatsu.
Suicide Squad?
Really?
Awesome.
Is that what you associate her with? The Suicide Squad?
A little bit of the Outsiders and mostly the Suicide Squad, because in modern times, that's pretty much been exclusively where she showed up.
That's true. That's true.
But all of this was new to me. So, and also to whether it's a real thing or not a real thing, or they've retconned it all the time, or the Soul Taker not being actually mystical, because it is mystical in current continuity and in TV and movies and shit.
Yeah.
But really, like, getting into the story and everything she lost, this was tragic and spectacular. I loved it, which is not a fucking surprise. I was almost considering, like, do we talk about every issue of this series because it's the same story? It's great. What else are we saying about it? But can't not. So what did you guys think? Who wants to go first?
What did you think about?
No, you go,
Brian.
I enjoyed it. I really liked the first one, and I think that one is still my favorite. But I wouldn't bring that up except to, just counterpoint, just because Noel had mentioned it. But I like this. I was a little disappointed that the sword was not the mystical version of the sword, but I also understand why. Like, I think this retelling of this history of the DC universe it's more in line with it just being a sword, and she is, not really talking to them.
Arguably, I would consider this the telling, and every single change thus far has been a retelling, right? So this is the telling of this original character, and all of the reboots that we've gotten is the retelling and remaking it a this or turning it into a mystical thing.
I thought the mystical thing was the original thing.
No.
Oh, was it not?
I don't believe so. No.
Oh. No, I thought that it was like always this ancient sword that had the soul of her husband in it that she talked to.
No, I don't believe that was original from. I had Batman and the Outsiders years ago, so I 100% don't remember it. But I don't think that was originally there.
That's another element of this book for me, is that now we are getting to, these are not comics that I was reading when they came out, but these were like the recent history of comics when I started reading comics. You know what I mean? So that's cool for me in another way. Like in this comic, we get to the time when I was reading them. And yeah, I thought her characterization in it was really interesting. I thought the way that they described the relationship between her and Gabby, was very cool, that she did not expect to, and the layered approach to the people who are in the power, so, the traditionally empowered groups of people, Batman and Superman being generally the ones, I think is really well done. Like, they... Did you like it? What? No, too late.
JD signing off.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
He might jump back on, but the baby.